James Carter, a bright and hopeful black kid, steps into Westwood Elementary, hoping for a fresh start. But from the moment he walks through the doors, whispers follow him, judgmental stares, cruel words, and an unrelenting bully named Logan. The taunts turn into physical attacks, but James refuses to back down. The true nightmare begins when the very system meant to protect him, his teachers and school authorities, turn against him. Instead of justice, he's met with lies, manipulation, and racism disguised as discipline. Suspended for defending himself, James realizes that silence only fuels oppression. But heroes aren't born in comfort. With fire in his heart and the support of new allies, James makes a bold stand. In the halls of Westwood, before an entire school, he confronts Logan, the teachers, and a broken system that thrives on keeping people like him down. His courage sparks a movement. Students rise, voices are heard, and the foundation of injustice begins to shake. This isn't just a school fight. It's a battle for dignity. A battle for every kid who's been silenced. A battle for change. Will James's bravery be enough to turn the tide? Or will the system crush him before the world hears his voice? A heart-wrenching, powerful story of courage, injustice, and the fight for a better world. Watch till the end, because every second of this story matters. The morning sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink as James Carter adjusted his backpack and stared up at the looming gates of Westwood Elementary. It was his first day at a new school. His mother had assured him that this would be a fresh start, but James wasn't so sure. Taking a deep breath, he stepped through the gates, gripping his comic book tightly, the only thing that brought him comfort in unfamiliar places. The hallways buzzed with chatter, but as soon as he walked past, whispers replaced the conversations. "Who's that?" "He's really dark. I bet he's trouble." James kept his head down, pretending not to hear. He had dealt with this before, but it still stung. All he wanted was to be accepted, not judged by the color of his skin. At lunch, James hesitated before sitting alone at a corner table. He unwrapped his sandwich, hoping to make it through the day unnoticed. But fate had other plans. A boy with spiky blonde hair and a cruel smirk approached. Logan. James could tell his type instantly. Someone who thrived on making others feel small. "Hey, new kid," Logan sneered, sitting across from him. "You lost?" James ignored him, focusing on his food. "I'm talking to you, Shadow Boy," Logan continued. His voice was louder now, drawing the attention of nearby students. James felt his chest tighten, his fingers gripping his sandwich. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue?" Logan laughed, nudging his friend. "Or maybe you just don't belong here." A few kids laughed, but most just watched. Some looked uncomfortable, but no one said a word. James knew this feeling all too well, being outnumbered, being the odd one out. But this time, he refused to give Logan the satisfaction of seeing him break. He stood up, gathering his things. "I belong anywhere I choose to be," James said firmly, meeting Logan's gaze. Logan's smirk faltered for a second before he scoffed. "We'll see about that." The following days were worse. Logan and his group made sure James never had a moment's peace. They whispered about him in class, tripped him in the hallways, and once, they even smeared dirt on his locker. One afternoon, things escalated. James was walking home when he heard footsteps behind him. He turned, and there stood Logan and two of his friends, blocking his path. "What do you want?" James asked, gripping his backpack strap tightly. Logan smirked. "Just thought we'd give you a proper welcome." Before James could react, Logan shoved him. James stumbled, but caught himself. Anger flared in his chest. "I'm not scared of you," James said through clenched teeth. Logan's smirk turned into a scowl. "Oh, yeah?" He threw a punch, but James dodged it. James had never fought before, but instinct kicked in. He tackled Logan to the ground, The two scuffled, rolling in the dirt. James landed a punch, surprising even himself. Logan's friends hesitated, unsure of what to do. A car horn blared, and an adult's voice shouted, "Hey! Break it up!" The boys scrambled to their feet as a teacher ran toward them. Logan wiped blood from his lip, glaring at James. "This isn't over," he spat before running off with his friends. James's heart pounded. He had stood up for himself, but at what cost? The next day, James was called to the principal's office. He walked in, expecting to be heard, expecting justice. Instead, he was met with the cold stare of Mr. Patterson, the vice principal, and Mrs. Green, his history teacher. "James, we have a serious issue," Mr. Patterson said. "We heard about the fight you were involved in." James sat up straight. "Logan started it." Mrs. Green sighed dramatically, crossing her arms. "James, we've had many students tell us that you were the aggressor, that you lashed out." James's stomach twisted. "That's not true. He's been harassing me since I got here. Ask anyone." Mr. Patterson exchanged a glance with Mrs. Green before leaning forward. "Listen, son, I know it can be difficult adjusting to a new school, but causing trouble isn't the way to make friends." James's jaw tightened. He could see it in their faces. They had already made up their minds. "Logan won't be punished, will he?" James asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Mrs. Green sighed again. "He comes from a good family, James. We can't ruin a child's future over a misunderstanding." James clenched his fists. He wanted to scream, to demand justice. But he knew the truth. This wasn't about justice. This was about race. He was suspended for a week. James sat in his room, furious. His mother was on the phone, demanding to know why her son was punished while his bully walked free. The answer was the same. We have to look at the bigger picture. That night, James stared at his comic book heroes. They never gave up, and neither would he. When he returned to school, he didn't hide. He stood taller. He spoke louder. And when Logan tried to trip him again, James caught himself and turned. "Is that all you got?" The hallway went silent. Logan blinked, caught off guard. "What did you say?" Logan growled. "I said, is that all you got? Because you're pathetic." A murmur spread through the crowd. Logan lunged at him, but this time James didn't back down. He pushed back, shoving Logan to the ground. The teachers rushed in, but this time, students spoke up. "He started it!" Ethan shouted. Others nodded. Even kids who once stayed silent stood beside James. Mr. Patterson and Mrs. Green arrived, scowling. "James, my office now." James took a deep breath and shook his head. "No." A gasp rippled through the crowd. "I won't be quiet anymore," James said. "I won't be pushed around. And if you punish me again, the whole school will know the truth." Mr. Patterson's face darkened, but James didn't care, because this time he wasn't alone. Over time, things changed. Teachers were called out. Policies were questioned. Logan lost his power. One afternoon, Ethan found James sketching under a tree. "What are you drawing?" James turned the book around, revealing a superhero, one with dark skin, a bright cape, and a symbol of unity on his chest. "He looks cool," Ethan said. "What's his name?" James grinned. "His name is Courage. Because in the end, that's what it took to change the world. A little bit of courage."